Hey, how's everybody doing? Hope your day is going well, and thanks for joining us. Um, my name's Sandy, and I'm here to introduce my brilliant friend, Philip Roth-Smithson. And Philip is the founder and CEO of Paradigma. He's a computer engineer with over 30 years of experience in the financial sector, internet technology, as well as the mining, airline, and construction industries, just to name a few. He has a master's in information technology management. Paradigma has developed numerous projects, but it's also worth mentioning that they strive to integrate innovative solutions with the principle of betterment of the world. So today, Paradigma is launching two products, and the first is a decentralized domain service, which allows anyone from anywhere in the world to have a bridge to the decentralized web. And the second product is CrossCheck, a digital platform for cross-border business at any scale to do business safely. And today, Philip will present these solutions that Paradigma has developed. Both products are based on innovations in blockchain technology. He will start by explaining the motivations to build them, and then he'll present the technical and commercial aspects in more detail. I will follow that with a simple example of how two people 6,000 miles apart use CrossCheck to provide trust and assurance in their business process. So we will end with a Q&A, so feel free to put your questions into the chat. So let's get started, and I will pass you over to Philip.
Thank you, Sandy. It's a pleasure to be with all of you in this special moment of the launch of our decentralized applications. So our first motivation was, how can I make a business agreement globally, especially in a moment that we realize that we have to stay confined because of the restrictions of the pandemic that we have had. So how can we improve that in the world level? So what we have seen is that we have some worldwide world challenges that the inhabitants are facing. It's especially associated with the fast automation that has been deployed in the world. So automation is taking the whole world. Additionally, the globalization is also helping this automation to be more, had a bigger impact, especially in this accelerated change and the big problems of wages, and also the displacement of jobs. So many people are realizing that these changes are making them, obsolete in a sense, that they have to look and redo their lives again in order to get new jobs. So then the obstacles, and you can see those that are holding back for better or more equitable business systems are cross-border value transfer. It's not easy to transfer funds, and even though there's a few of these organizations or companies that are managing all the flow of funds, even though they have that in control, it still is not easy to do that. Additionally, transaction costs that in order to do a transfer of funds or value is also very high. And also some countries are not able to receive those funds or to send funds somewhere. So there's a lack of adequate privacy and security. Then the people, have to put a lot of information on the net in order to really do those things. And so they're losing this capacity. So essentially, the mass technological companies, organizations are also taking all the information from the people and also using that for their benefit. So how we can protect the people, how we can protect companies and the people who really want to do their business. So we need a better internet, and that's a proposal of Stacks that This says that this internet has to be unstoppable, open to anyone, has to have the possibility to build new business models. The users have to own their data. Yeah, and has to be modular, that you can build and grow with the applications that are available. And then Stacks proposes that it has to be the best blockchain that is available right now, and has proven that is one of the most secure blockchains in the world, and that is Bitcoin. So Stacks is built on top of Bitcoin. From that, we realized that the proposal that Stacks has offered the world, we have developed using these principles that we are now presenting. How to develop applications is the undying concept of decentralized applications using Stacks. The centralized application, you require authentication of users. You need to sign transactions and store data. And all these functionalities are done on top of the Stacks blockchain, that is on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, that offers the security for the whole decentralized applications that are around the world. So it's like a renaissance of the application. So the decentralized application, the DApp, is the new application. So in the left-hand side, you can see that each application had the users associated with that application. And then each application, you have to register or sign to the different applications. And each user had to give their information to the different applications. That's why it's a lack of privacy. And this lack of privacy makes very insecure what we do in the internet. So that is changing to the right one, that is a decentralized way of doing things, that you as a user have different access to the different applications, you see? And then, so if you have different applications, you use the same identity and storage to store all the data associated with your what you do. You see, so each one is yours. It's your data, your IDs, and nothing is shared with the application provider. So using this concept as a CrossCheck application we have developed, so it's that having like each user will have their own CrossCheck application, and then also they can use the same way other applications. So then each user will have, but one of them will be in the CrossCheck. So what happens is that essentially there are two points that are very important, that users own their identity, leveraged by the public blockchain, and then the users own their data, leveraging cryptography plus cloud computing. So the storage is accessible in the cloud, and using the right cryptography or not, then you have the possibility to be safe. On the same idea comes up a new concept that is decentralized domain names. So those decentralized domain names are based on the concept of the internet domain names. But now, instead of having centralized servers that will manage your domain names, you have those domains names managed by the registration on top of the blockchain. So on the right-hand side, you can see that there's the BNS is a blockchain name service, is implemented using a smart contract on top of the Stacks blockchain that is on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. So with that, then you can register names that are global unique on top of this blockchain name service. Also, that names that are human meaningful and strongly owned. As these domain names are registered on the blockchain, then they're associated with accounts that has value, that you can make transactions with them. See, and so then that's the advantage of having blockchains in order to register your domain names. So with those domain names, not only you have data that also you can associate your cloud data storage, but also you can associate value, and then you can use it to receive funds or to send funds. So an example of decentralized domain names are, for example, the namespaces that are the one that are the most, the last portion of the domain name, that is like .id and .btc, those .stx. They're typical right now on the decentralized domain names, namespaces. But also you can create names on top of these namespaces like xck.app or mixme.app. The example that we are using and though we are developing in our projects. So under these domain names, you can further create a subdomain that is under the, for example, the xck.app or the CrossCheck app name, like philip.crosscheck.app. Yeah, that will be a subdomain. Yeah. And another one, for example, could be the mixme.app, the sandyhoover.crosscheck.app. Yeah, that Sandy is also with us presenting. So what we have done is do a bridging between the internet domain names with the decentralized IDs. The Paradigma subdomain service facilitates initiatives to massify decentralized IDs for groups of interest or communities. For example, as CrossChecks, crosscheck.app and mixme.app domain names matches the ownership both at the blockchain name service and the internet domain name registrars. So what we have done is to have both at the same time, you see? So the idea is that the dApps extends this feature, having the possibility to have, for example, a profile landing page using a bridge to the user's decentralized storage. So we're using the centralized, using the decentralized storage, and having the functionality of presenting and having a web page, a profile web page, or a value account associated with a domain name that matches both sides. So how you can get one of those decentralized domain names? Well, just go to the https://domain.paradigma.global, and then you can get your decentralized domain names. And you have the subdomains that are under the domain names that we are sponsoring, and also the other Stacks ID names, that .id, .btc, .stx. So you just go to this centralized. There will be several videos that also you can use in order to how to use that. It's very simple but easy to use, and also very inexpensive. So based on this decentralized domain names, then you can see that there's a possibility of having communication between people, you see? Different people, will have different ideas, and so how we can then solve the problem of doing business between each other. Of course, essentially we can do maybe just plain funds transfers between each other. That will be the most basic ones. But actually, the business are more complex than that, and we require more aspects in order to really have a more protected and secure environment in order to do business. So the proposal is to do business between parties located anywhere in the world. So Paradigma developed CrossCheck, and is located in xck.app and as a website. So then Paradigma, what does is like a bridge between people, to do business. You see, so then using the decentralized ID, helping the people to agree on a contract, or agree on a business, or agree on a contract, different aspect of or exchange information and communicate. So the first need one requires is the agreement or the proposal and some attached files. So then on these files could be any documentation, any information that will amplify the scope of an agreement, of a proposal, of a quotation. It's flexible and modular. It has some customizable business agreements. It helps you to buy, sell, or just create contracts to, and as we are using the decentralized capacity of developing applications, then all this data is secure and private, because you can use it encrypted or non-encrypted. So CrossCheck is using this capacity of that Stacks provides. So with that, then we create a layer of trust using these technologies. So when you have a group of participants that are located in different places of the world, they can be sure that these agreements, that have associated documents or files, and then you have agree on certain digital assets that you're going to use in order to fulfill an agreement. Then that all is agreed. Then you can digitally sign it in the blockchain, and that cannot be denied, because it will be registered and it will be like frozen, and everything will be as it was agreed, and everybody will have a copy of that. So additionally, it's a way to assure your incomes and transfers of your digital assets. Digital assets or your values that you can transfer from one account to another account that people own. And then the ways to do those transfers is between the approval or the authorization of your own keys that you authorize to do that. So the pair and the transfer too has certain functionalities. There's several forms of transfer or split transfers associated to the date or deliverables. So for example, you don't want just one payment, and maybe you want several payments for a certain agreement. So maybe you have a first payment, a second payment, and a third payment, a fourth payment. And then how you do and you track it, that everything has been done, then CrossCheck integrates all that and facilitates the way to do that. And so all those transfers are done in a way that everybody understands that that is happening, and it's part of the agreement. And the wonderful thing is that it's transferred in minutes when those transfers are executed or approved. I mean, when you have to release those funds, in the moment that you have established, like the date or the deliverable have been sent, for example. If there's okay, you requested that a deliverable has to be sent before to receive those funds, then that also is associated with that. And for that, of course, as the application doesn't really use, doesn't have access to the actual funds, but the actual funds is accessed by the Hero Web Stacks wallet. So using that Stacks wallet is the way that the application materializes these functionalities. Right now, the accepted tokens in the applications are the native coins as stacks, is STX. In the near future, we probably will have Bitcoin, but also is accepting tokens based on the stacks ecosystems, like CrossCheck, Citycoin, Miami Coin, that has been released around a month and a half ago, and MixMe, that is coming up also. And soon, probably in a couple of weeks, we will have a new one, a new city coin. It's called New York City Coin. And that's a brand new opportunity. So that also will be useful using CrossCheck. One aspect that we have been envisioned in our application as there's a big impact of automation and globalization is a way to implement the cooperation and reciprocity principle. And a good thing we discovered with the blockchain technology that gives you the opportunity to implement mechanisms of incentives for financial sustainability. As this application CrossChecks, it creates a multi-sided ecosystem. Also, we have defined our own fungible token that's called CrossCheck. So then the CrossChecks are used to reward each of the participants, which will value up the token as the network grows. So then the idea is to help everybody to, if the application is successful in time, everybody will be part of this success. Not just to look at the success of the other ones, but also will participate in the success. But the reciprocity works not directly between parties, but between the ecosystems, and by transitivity, this reciprocity will be given between parties. So a new concept is being applied in order to how we can survive and how can we keep on developing the application. So the revenues that are generated from CrossChecks are generated from the service and utility that it provides to the ecosystem. So if this application is useless, it won't provide any value to anybody. So the idea or our effort, our goal is to provide utility and be of service for the ecosystem. So as a reciprocity to the developers of CrossCheck, the users need to hodl a minimum of hodl the concept in the cryptocurrency environment as a way to hold a minimum of CrossChecks tokens in their accounts to use the app. So if your account doesn't have the minimum of those tokens, CrossCheck tokens, then there's a modality of pay as you go So then what from the funds that are being transferred or the fees that are charged, then those are charged, and then as a reciprocity, the new cross-checks are minted and equivalent to that in return. Additionally, part of the revenues goes directly as an empowerment of people funding stream to institutions that are helping to combat job displacement. So every transaction, every movement that is being done in the application also will directly be helping these institutions. No? And one very important part goes to the participants that are stacking CrossCheck tokens. So the concept of mining is also applied as an application. So the revenues that the application is getting will be also distributed among the participants that are holding the tokens. So as a summary, this is a solution to facilitate doing business globally safely. It's an incentive to formalize them using business agreements. Has different forms of payment as the business require. You can use several cryptocurrencies that are available in the ecosystems, transferred in minutes anywhere in the world, track the digital deliverables sent. The participant can earn from their work and or savings. It's a direct empowerment of people funding stream. So those are some of the benefits and of what we have seen that it will give to the ecosystem and also for the betterment of the world. So the invitation is to join us in this effort to improve the condition of doing business globally and create new job opportunities. Now we can see an example, a very simple example that Sandy has prepared for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. That was really fantastic. Okay, so here's just a very simple example. But I want to point out that even for something this simple, you really need a solution like this because I often work like this. I think a lot of us do. And we have things that we can use. We use Dropbox and Google Drive and email and crypto and all these things. But there really hasn't been a way to combine them all and to do this safely so that you can release the assets and the payment at the same time. Also, you can track progress and versions, and it's going to be really great, even for these simple examples. So I'll just go through this now. So here I am in the US. I'm making little tutorial videos about crypto wallets, and I need somebody who can make the audio tracks in Spanish, and also somebody with local knowledge and who also understands crypto. And I don't know personally anybody like that, but I was suggested Pedro, who is in Santiago, Chile, and he can do all of these things. And so Pedro is up for it. So I contact Pedro and we agree to work together using CrossCheck to facilitate the business transaction. And first, we'll get our xck domain name so that we can have our profile pages and do everything in the app. I can log in any decentralized domain name, but this gives me full functionality. So here we are, we're all logged in. And so we create an agreement in CrossCheck. We have the price, the deliverable format. For example, in this example, I really would like the audio in high quality WAV format. It also should be clean. We want to sort out the form of payment. What form of crypto would Pedro like? So then we digitally sign the agreement, and it's then registered on the blockchain. Now we can't step back from that. There it is. We can always look at it and see it. So I then upload the video, which needs the audio track in Spanish. And here's Pedro checking it out. So he creates and uploads the first draft of the Spanish audio track via CrossCheck, and we can both listen to it. So we discuss making some changes. Maybe the first draft could use some improvements, and also Pedro has some ideas that I didn't even think of that make it better. So it is nice to be able to see the comment thread, and we agree on the final version. I send the fee, and the smart contract releases the payment to Pedro and the audio track to me, and we all live happily ever after. Okay. So
Yeah.
okay, sorry about that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sandy. And that's a very clever way, a very simple example of how can be accomplish a business agreement. Business sometimes is much more complex than that, and sometimes it can get several changes on the quotation, and maybe that's many of those aspects of interacting, and then before reaching to a certain moment of so that's why the CrossCheck tries to help on with that, and then this is example, a wonderful example from starting from that to very more complex.
Yes, I have one. When the system release the payment and the file to Sandy, the file need to be in crypto mode previously encrypted.
Well, what happens is that before the agreement is reached, then everybody will have to sign. On the people that will authorize a transaction will have to sign the agreement, and then that signature is registered in the blockchain. So it's a transaction there that will close all the possible changes to those texts and those files. So there will be like a kind of lock on that agreement. Then the payment is allowed in order to make that transaction, and each transaction, and that transaction is registered in the associated to that agreement.
Thank you.
And so the transaction that register, and also then you can check it up that all the payment have been done or not. And the good thing is that everybody can see, all the participants can see that part. Hector, do you have any questions?
What is the cost of the service? There is a commission or a percent?
Yeah, so what we require as a minimum of CrossChecks in your account. So we are requiring 50 CrossChecks to be deposited in your account.
Did you say 15 or 50?
50, sorry.
50, okay.
Yeah, 50. So then...
how much is that in stacks?
That will be 5 stacks.
5 stacks.
Around $10.
Around $10.
At that time, the price of right now.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, in your account, that the application won't charge you any extra, any fees or any make any transfers. So that will be the basic.
Oh, I didn't realize that actually. So if you have the CrossChecks there, So anytime you do signing, that you're not being charged a transaction fee for that, or
No, it's
yeah?
always the transaction fees. They will be always charged, of course, but because of the system, the Stacks ecosystem charge you for transaction.
Right.
But
Right. Oh, okay. Yes.
the CrossCheck application won't charge you. Additional to that, it won't charge you if you have the minimum CrossChecks per account.
Oh, okay. That's good to know, actually.
Yeah,
And okay, cool. And
yeah.
the Stacks charges are they're about, what are they now? About 2 cents or
Well, depends on the complexity of the smart contract, and that's being improved right now. They are fixing or optimizing that
Mm,
cost, the real cost, not the theoretical cost. Initially, because depending on how much information you're storing, it will cost you more because that depends
mm,
on the information that you put on blockchain. So that has a cost,
I see. Mhm.
and also the complexity of the smart contract that you're using. So all this is built on top of smart contracts and also a web interface.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then that's idea of all of the infrastructure that decentralized infrastructure we're using. Uh, so and why do you see how do you maintain the people to have those cross checks in their account? Then that's why we provide certain services to stack their cross checks as a benefit. So not only the benefit of having that access to the application, but also having some recurrent income based on the stacking of the savings of those cross checks in your account. So then you don't change them. So those are the things that we have to learn how to improve and how to encourage people, to maintain the investment of projects. But if you don't use the application, maybe in 10 years later, because any success or any changes in your life, then you can recover that investment for the price of 10 years more. If the network was successful or application was successful, then you can get maybe good returns on that investment. But while all that in that process, you use the application and then that you get benefit of the utility of the application.
That's a great point. And also, I mean, I just wanted to say too that in a situation like this, where if I'm working with somebody across the world, which I do, at the moment the only thing I can do is send the fee in maybe PayPal, which takes a big percentage. So that person has already lost sometimes maybe 10, 20, $15 just that they could have had in the PayPal transaction. And then you get to a country like, like right now, working with somebody in Kenya, PayPal doesn't work. I don't think they can receive payments, and so already, even if you didn't have all these other things, that even that just alone
So
is
we did an exercise some years ago, about 4 years, 5 years ago, and for the inauguration of um, um, the dedication of a building here in Santiago. And then 5,000 people came up from 120 countries around the world. So then they had to register for the conference that we organized. And so then there were several ways to get that, but we tried to use something that could be widely used, but the only thing that was available right now at that time, that time, was PayPal. But essentially, PayPal, you see, for 5,000, there was about around $100 they had to pay per person. So it's 5,000, so $50,000. They got around $20,000 from that money, and from not only from what we received, but also from the people they got something else, because also the banks that were around it, they got something. And then the people were having problems in order to to send the money because their banks block them. They prevented them to do those transactions. And there's many countries were like that, not just one or few, no, many countries.
Yeah.
So then that's why an application like Paradigma CrossCheck will help to boost business agreements and around the world, in order to facilitate that. And and then the minimum investment in 50 CrossChecks for the moment is not very high. Of course, certain countries, that probably will meet 1/10 of their salary. But we have to see which way we can help those countries. But it's a fair way to have some to contribute for everybody, to have everybody have a kind of a stake on this business. Any comments or questions? What do you think about this?
It's interesting. Just in the last year with the pandemic, a lot of work are remotely or from each country to another country. So I think that is necessary to have this platform in this time.
Yes, it's true, because how can you do business with distance and also from home or from your office or from different places of the world? It's a challenge, and how you make that this business agreement is trustful, you see, and how you can control that what you have provided is being used correctly, etc. So that's this application is just the initial part of a whole set of functionalities that will come up with this. Like, for example, will come out like some decentralized finance services, could be savings, could be like a way to you can pre-deposit, but nobody can get that fund before. So then can be released when the product has been sent, or then the deliverables have been sent. So there's many ways to do away control that the flow of funds, or the control of your deliverables will be used correctly. So this is a huge opportunity, and also maintaining the privacy of, and also the ownership of the data that you own. So that is your data, it's your information, your business, your agreements, and nobody else can look at them. Okay, so so it's been a wonderful moment an historic moment that we have reached to launch our decentralized applications. So thank you for coming, and well, this presentation will be available in our YouTube channel. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, Philip, Millie, and Jose.